Hi, so hello again. Let's talk about discussion boards. So we have had some exposure to discussion boards from the ones that Miss Guidry posted, and so it may be something that you're like, I really like this. I could see incorporating this into my class. So let's talk about how to build a discussion board and then also customize and personalize it for the lessons that we're posting them for. So I'm going to go ahead and click inside my course. And so if we just put add material, add discussion board, it will of course post to our dashboard here, but I'm going to go ahead and put it inside my lesson folder. So add material, add discussion. And so the screen pops up, and this is where we are going to create and personalize and put all the information that we want so that the students know exactly what we're asking of them. So I will tell you, if you have never worked with an online discussion board before, you're going to want to make sure that you're very clear with your instructions as to what exactly you are looking for in regards to responses. If you just tell the students, read this article, write what you think, very vague instructions like that do tend to lead to very short and very stilted responses. So just kind of a FYI tip. So for our title of our discussion board, we're just going to put online learning. And then here's where we want to make sure that we put our instructions. Now, I actually typed my instructions ahead of time, just so that you guys didn't have to hear me clackating this whole time. So I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste my instructions in there. So just like we have seen before, once you have text in your instruction box, you can, of course, manipulate your text. So you can bold it, you can highlight it, you can italicize it. If there are certain key phrases you want to do different colors, so I'm going to put complete sentences. I want to go ahead and make sure that really stands out. I want them to see that they do have to post a comment on their friend's post. So we're going to go ahead and change that color as well. And then I can do other things, as you can see, based off of here. I can make this larger fonting, I can adjust the indentations and so forth. So if you look at my instructions, you'll notice that it says watch the video. So that means that I have a video that they need to view before they actually post. So I'm going to show you a few ways that you can input content into the instructions of your discussion board. So one of the things that you can do is, you can see we have our good old-fashioned link button. So if I click on link, so I actually already have my video here, so let me go ahead and get the URL. So I'm going to copy that. So when I click on the link button, I just put my URL in there, and so title my video. And so I hit insert, and you can see here that I do have a link. So when I hover over it, you can see that I have a hyperlink that has been created, and when they click on this, it'll pop open the video. Now, if you have information that is not online, so maybe you have a file that you want to input a picture or image, then we're going to use, of course, something else. So let's get rid of that. And we're going to go here to our little handy dandy box where it says insert content. And you can see here, this is where, of course, I can insert an image media. If I have something on my Google resource drive, then I can put information on there. I do not recommend, if you're using a YouTube video, to go through the YouTube link. They actually do not have it hooked up within Schoology. So if you try to do it through here, it's just going to keep processing. It will not connect. So it's just better to go to YouTube itself and then get the link or the embed code. So you'll also notice that there are some buttons down here. So before, when I input my material, it was put into the actual instruction box. If I don't want the information to be in the instruction box, if I feel it might be a little too distracting, then I can go down here, and what will happen is this will embed or be put at the bottom of the instructions. So let's say that, again, I have a file, I have an article I want them to read. Again, maybe it's something on my Google Drive. This is really cool. If I click on this, I can create a audio. So I can talk to the students about maybe something I'm looking for. I can record audio/video of something that I want them to be aware of, where they can hear my voice and see my face. But again, we're going to go ahead and work with our YouTube video. So I'm going to click on link. I'm going to go ahead and paste that in there. So again, we're going to title that. And so we're going to attach that. And so now we can see that it's over here at the bottom. If I click on Get Preview, which I do highly recommend, this is what it will look like to the students when this is posted. So they'll see the instructions up here, and then they'll see the video that is right here, very clear as day, at the bottom here for them to view. Now, another way that you can do this is there's sometimes material that you find online where you can embed it. And so when you have the embed code, that is where you're actually using HTML coding and you are embedding the information into your text. So again, let me kind of show you how that works. So I go to my video, I go to share, and you can see that it says embed. And so I'm going to go ahead and copy that embed code. I'm going to go back over here. And so you see these little dots over here on the right. If I click on the dot, what it's going to do is it's going to switch now to the actual coding that is used to produce this online. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Control V, and you can see that I've added some additional coding from YouTube. And I'm going to go back to the visual, and you see that there is a yellow square that is here. Now, when you are embedding information in Schoology, it does not actually show you the image right away. It will not show it to you until after you hit create. But if this box is yellow, it's working. That means that you did it correctly, and that when you hit create, that embedded video, image, whatever it may be, will show up. So then we go ahead and move on to our due date. So we're just going to say we have it due on the 31st by 11:59 p.m. And of course I can change the time. And then we now have another little button here, enable grading. So if I click on enable grading, we now see that we have some extra boxes that have popped up. So I need to determine what category do I want to put this in. Is this a daily grade, a major grade? What is this? So let's say that this is a daily grade. And so I also need to determine how do I want to grade this. If I do it numerically, then that's just on the typical 0 through 100 point scale, or I can adjust the points up here. So maybe it's 50 points, 20 points, maybe this is part of something else. I can also, however, create a rubric. So if you want to create your own rubric, you go here to create new. I do have a rubric that has already been created. And so you can see here is my rubric. So when you do this, all of this is relatively blank. So this will be blank. It will have the numbers, but it basically lets you customize your rubric however you want. So you can I put one of my criteria is complete sentences. And then you can see here that I have description. So I might say response must have at least 3 complete sentences, or however many sentences I may want. Thoroughness of a response. And again, I can put a description. What does that mean? If I want to add more criteria, then I can click here and I can add as many criteria as I want, so I can keep on going. And then if I'm like, ooh, I really don't want that, I changed my mind. If I click on this little X over here, then I can start deleting criteria that's in my rubric. If I want to add learning objectives as a rubric standard, so when I click on learning objectives, it's going to open this up. And you can see here when I scroll down, it shows state standards. And so we click on Texas, and so now we can see that we have our TEKS. So when I click on that, it now opens up all of the various years that TEKS have been released. So we'll just say English, and we're going to go ahead and pick English 1, and I'm just picking the first ones that I see. And so now you can see that I am going to add this learning objective. And so now what it does is it adds that particular TEK as a rubric criteria. I can change these numbers. Maybe I don't want it to be 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe I want it to be 10, 20, 30, 40, 5, 10, 15, 20, whatever it is that I may want it to be. Again, if I decide to change my mind, I don't want this anymore, I want to kind of simplify it, I X that out, and now it's gone. So once I'm finally finished with my rubric, I hit save. And so now my rubric is created. If you click this button, so if it's unclicked, the students will not get to see the rubric. I personally think if you're going to build a rubric, then the students should be able to see it, because of course those are the criteria that we have established that we want them to follow. So if you click on this, then the students will be able to see the rubric that you have created, that you will be using to grade their responses. And so the last thing I kind of want to show you, just like before, this is automatically default to publish to all students. If you want it to go to individual students or groups, then you can click on this to individually assign. But I want to show you this right here. As you can see, it says members can see other responses before participating. So what that means is that students, before they type, they can go through and scroll and read what other people have put. If you maybe don't want the responses to be influenced by what other people have written before, then if you click on this, you can see now that it has turned colorful, then that means that they will not see any of their fellow classmates' posts before they've posted their own. So they will have to create their own post, get it all written, and then once they hit post, then it opens up the board so that they can see their fellow classmates, and of course now they can respond to their fellow classmates' posts as well. So I'm going to go ahead and keep that click because I want them to create their own original responses without being influenced by maybe something else that they read. And so now I'm going to hit create. And so we are having that create, and then here we go. And so now when I click on the discussion post or the discussion board instructions, you can see I have my instructions, there's my color, you can see that I have my embedded video. If I had just kept it as a link, it would have either been a hyperlink or just a little tiny thumbnail down here at the bottom. You can see here is the rubric that we created so that the students can see what exactly I'm looking for. And then this is where, of course, they would write their comment, post it, and then if there were other people that had posted, this would now open up. So again, hopefully you have found this useful. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask, and have a really great day. Thanks.